allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of February 24th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Beer.
Aye.
Commissioner Spitaleri.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool.
Aye.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of February 26th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Beer.
Aye.
Commissioner Spitaleri.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool.
Aye.
Eddie, step up to our new mic
Okay.
with the $15 mic stand.
It's on sale.
Was that feedback or was the thing making a noise?
And where were you on the 15th?
Hello, it's in there.
I had flashbacks of congressional testimony.
Right. Today we have on the financials a revenue certification for the auditor's computer equipment improvement fund for funding the South Network core switch upgrade to be received from the general fund. Appropriation transfer for additional appropriations for the juvenile probate court. Appropriation transfer to the Department of Emergency Services to move appropriations to their newly created line item for utilities. Cash transfer from the general fund to the computer improvement fund for the South Network core switch upgrade in the amount of $32,000. Travel request for the Department of Emergency Services, Job and Family Services, and the Public Defender's Office. Payment to Lakeland Management Systems Incorporated for payment number 6. That's for the county engineer's new office building project in the amount of $207,644. Payments to Wolfert Incorporated for the auditor's portion of the second year pictometry project fee totaling $35,460.16. Payment to Berger and Associates for the purchase of 16 mission alarm systems and service agreements for the Department of Water Resources sewer plants in the amount of $34,089.60, and payment number 7 to Envirocom Construction for contracts A and B for the Thompson wastewater treatment plant project for the Department of Water Resources totaling $544,284.45.
Your Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-026 itemizing the financials for the meeting of March 3rd, 2015.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rear.
Christie, let the record show that I'm voting no on all the line items pertaining to the supplemental appropriations for the juvenile court. Vote yes on the rest of the financial. I don't want to hold that up, but I'm not in favor of those transfers, so I'm voting no.
Commissioner Spitaleri.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Aging? Well, that goes down.
It's your appointment, so.
What's that all about? Do we need them here for that?
No, she called this morning and said she didn't think that she needed to be here for it.
So we can go ahead and read it, right?
Read it.
Okay, go ahead.
The Department on Aging is requesting the Board approve the appointment for Walter M. Claypool of Deborah Sally to the Department on Aging Advisory Board for the term February 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rear.
Aye.
Commissioner Spitaleri.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool.
Aye. Okay, County Engineer, drum roll, please.
Morning, Joe. Hey, how are you?
Speak into the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Good morning. So we have a couple items on the agenda today. First
Is
one.
that a fun? The feedback, is that a fun?
No.
Oh.
Try the deal. Thursday night. The first one's the MOU for the Salt building. The other one's actually asking to award the bid to Miller Builders Incorporated for $485,780, which is it's about $80,000 under the estimate. So it's a great bid. They are the only one that did submit an alternate, and actually it was an excellent. They made some excellent suggestions in that. We find that to be great. It's going to hold at least another 1,000 tons more than what our minimum requirement was at 12,000. This will hold 13,100, and actually it'll probably hold a little more because they're going to raise it another foot higher. So give us the clearance on the doorway that we want. So certainly a great structure. We've researched the company. They're a solid company. Done a lot of this work, and we talked to some of the references that they're going to be real happy with the contract. So at any rate, the first item on here is the memorandum of understanding between my office and the Commissioner's office as far as repayment schedule and so forth, how we're going to pay back. And I assume you've all seen that. So I don't, you guys have to read that, or you can just approve it as is, and if you choose to. Do you want to address each one of them individually, or did you want to deal with them MOU first here?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Go ahead and do it.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement between the Geauga County engineer and the Geauga County Board of Commissioners regarding the construction and maintenance of a salt storage structure of the county engineer's highway maintenance facility.
I'll move.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
All right, and just so that everybody knows, because there may be some people in the audience that don't know the process, there's an agreement between the county engineer and the commissioner's office wherein the engineers are going to pay back the commissioners a certain percentage of the money necessary to build this building. It's a great deal for the county. We're going to get significant discounts and savings on salt and so forth as we purchase it through the year, so it's going to be a great, it's a win all the way around. But, so that's, and then the next process, or step in the process, is to actually award the contract to the bidder, so, for whatever that's worth. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, and then the next item is to award the bid to Miller Builders Incorporated. One thing too, we'd like to, just because of the time frame we've been dealing with too, just to let you know, we'll run down and get the contract signed by them, and we'll bring them back. So we'll expect to have them on next Tuesdays for your approval, but that's acceptable to you.
Just back some Amish cheese or something down there.
Actually, he's probably going, so yeah, he can probably hook you up. Yeah.
What kind of building products?
Yeah, they're in Apple Creek, so, yeah. Probably not as much snow down that way. So, yeah, so that's what we're looking at.
If they do have snow, they won't have enough salt.
That's right.
Actually, take a couple buckets with you, maybe they'll cut us a break.
Actually, and that's what happened last year and this year too. A lot of the snow hit south of here too, which they're not used to, so they don't contract for enough. They all ran out last year, and they're all struggling down south of here. So,
When do you anticipate a start date on this? I mean, I know it's ASAP, when's the weather?
I believe they were going to start digging the foundation on, was it April 15th, Drew? Do you recall? I think that was in there. That was their tentative. What we're doing is our guys are going to prep the site, as in, strip the topsoil and build the pad, and then it'll be ready for them when they come. They can just start digging the foundation and so forth. But I believe it was April 15th was his tentative. There'll be some time between when they get the foundation and the stem walls up and in, the concrete walls poured, and because it's last we checked, there's about a 120-day lag on between when we give him a signed contract and when he'll have the top for it, the trusses and the fabric top. So there will be some time between when the walls are done and when the top arrives and when it's set and put in. This allows me to contract to fill it up with salt before it's too late to get in on the summer bid. So we should be in good shape. The one thing this does too is because there's some lag time between when we foundation and the stem walls are up and the top comes in, my guys are gonna put the asphalt floor in and so forth, so it'll actually, there's a couple weeks of downtime in between, so we'll be able to get in there without being in their way to put the floor in and it's something we do, so it's we figure it's prohibitive to the cost to just do it ourselves. And likewise prepping the site. And that took some unknowns away. That way, if there's some unsuitable subgrade in there and so forth, our guys would just take care of it, so we didn't have guys bidding on it, guessing, well, what if I hit some background? And so we wanted to take all the chances of those extras out of the job and let us just deal with it, 'cause this is what we do.
What kind of a warranty or bond do these guys have to post? You know, we have a guy here in Chestnut who had a new greenhouse put up, and the snow collapsed it.
Was that on the corner of Caves and Mayfield?
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I saw him building it really
And
last
I happened to go to church with him, and so I was talking to him about it over the weekend. He says, yeah, the guy's a good guy. It's all covered, insurance is covered, he's gonna take that downtown.
Right.
He told him at the time, that structurally, it wasn't designed to handle a heavy load snow-wise, and so they're gonna put up a different style. But the question comes back to, let's say that, because you've got a big fabric building, basically,
Right.
what happens, you get loaded up with snow and it collapses?
Right, yeah, it's all part of the design, and they're required. The top does have a 15-year warranty. What was the warranty on the trusses itself? Do you recall that, Drew? And we specified in the specs the snow loading for around here, so it definitely is designed to do that. Obviously, it costs more, the truss spacing is closer, so it can carry more of the load and so forth.
50-year in the frame.
Yeah, 50-year on the frame, so.
Did you specify this, or did they come in and say, because of this type of style of building, and based on their expertise, this is what you need to put in?
Both. We specified it based on, we checked regulations and so forth, and we checked and there's snow loadings and so forth for this area. And then also we worked with the building department, and what we did prior is work with them, and we already have the permit in place, I believe, so that's all been taken care of. You know, we are structural engineers, so that's kind of.
Oh, well, okay.
It's kind of, you know, the greenhouse, that guy's not, so,
When is
and I
the
feel
bid?
bad for him, but at least he got a new one.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, it's guaranteed and so forth to take the loading. You know, now, if we get something that's way over that range, 10 feet of snow, and it takes it down, that's probably something that's gonna be sitting in court. You know, they'll say, it took the design loading, but you can only design.
Do we cover that with insurance? I'm just curious.
I would believe insurance would cover us on that.
Yeah.
It's covering the one that's up there now, that's in
Exactly.
less than a stellar condition. When does the bid for the salt usually come out?
Well, it varies every year. It's all based on what the state's doing. Last year we had to have our final numbers and commit to them by April. It was April, wasn't it, Drew? And, which was kind of tough. I mean, here we are right now getting ready, and that's one of the issues here where I needed this to move along, because if I didn't know I was gonna have this, I couldn't commit to the material, the salt, with the state bid, and the state bid is where you get the conglomerate, everybody added together and getting a good price. Like last year, they ordered over 1 million tons of salt, so you can imagine we're getting such a better price because we're in on that.
Do you anticipate, do you think, and I'm not holding you to this, because when we've committed to X number of tons, they know that they only have to ship a fraction of X number of tons at a certain date, because we can't put it anywhere. So if let's say this is 12,000 tons, it's a number I hear, it could be a little more than that, but even if we said 10,000 tons,
Right.
are they gonna be able to, or willing to, give us all that at one time, or are they gonna ration it out from their end?
It's generally getting salt in the summer is not an issue whatsoever, because what's happening is they just keep running all year long.
Right, they
Right
manage.
now, it's coming out of the mine into the truck, and they're regulated. They can only bring so much out of the mine per day. So right now, that's when they get into trouble, and that's why you have to have a reserve on the ground here. And I haven't been up there, but my understanding is the reserves are gone, so it's coming straight out of the mine into the truck. So the trucks are waiting up to 3 hours up there at the mines. And, but what happens then is, when everybody doesn't need salt anymore, they just start piling it up and they keep bringing it out at the same pace, because that's what they're allowed to do. And in the past, a lot of times they would run out of ground storage, so they'd have to lay all their guys off, so then they sit idle. And then next thing they know, they have a big call on it come winter time, which creates a problem because now they use up everything and they could have been storing more material, but they didn't have room for it. So they really like the summer fill-up in that it allows them to not lay off their guys and they keep adding and bringing it out of the ground at the pace that they're legally allowed to. And just last year, I shouldn't say last year, this year, well, this year and last year, this winter season, we bought salt on the summer fill-up, but I could only buy 2,000 tons, that's the only space I had left, at $37 a ton.
So we were
Now at
the limiting
55.
factor was
Size of
on
storage.
our end,
Right.
not on their end.
Oh, absolutely, oh yeah, summer, it's whatever you want. And they have till October, well, the contract's different every year, but last year it was till sometime in October to deliver that summer fill-up, which, you know, for them that's good because, you know, they're doing backhauls, you know, they're hauling stone one way and salt the other way, and they're able, their trucks are never running empty. Well, they try not to run empty. So that saves them the cost all the way around.
One last question, and not to put you on the spot on this, but budget-wise, your budget, 12,000 tons of salt or 14,000, whatever the number is, seems like what you've been budgeted for in the past, seems like, are you gonna be able to fill that financially, or is it gonna take a couple of years before you arrive at that number? That number of stock, you know, that much bulk.
Right, I'm figuring it'll take me 3 to 4 years to build that reserve. The problem we have right now is because salt was almost double of last year,
Right.
is
You're
I
spending all your money.
run January, you know, January
Right.
on, so my winters hurt me in that I budget one thing, and then now I'm spending money that would normally be spent on salt in November, December, because this price was so high that I had to use some of that money in that calendar year. And the advantage the state has over me is they run a July 1 budget, so Northeast Ohio winters are easier to budget for. So it cost me about $200,000 more than what I budgeted for this snow season. Now granted, if we turn around and get good salt prices coming in on the summer.
And a mild winter.
And a mild winter. and that's in essence how I know that eventually I can get this full without hurting my budget, is one, I'm getting better prices because it's a summer fill-up, and two, as soon as we get a mild winter, then I can buy reserve, you know, start, you know, keep using the same budget money and then it's in there. And it'll take some time probably.
Yeah, that's what I figure, and the purpose of the question is so that once the building's built and somebody drives by and looks in there and it's a quarter of full, that there's not a bunch of criticism flying around that you overbuilt the building and this, that, or the other thing. It's like, it'll hold what we ultimately want to have,
Right.
It's just filling.
Exactly, and another factor in that too is I'm hoping that, well, I know I can, because we're already doing it with 5, 6, 7 townships, but I want to help out the townships too. Well, the way we do it is they come get salt and then we invoice them, and so I'm paying for it all up front, so that kind of adds to my dilemma, but then it catches up the next year and then it gives me some additional money to put salt back in the building and build it up. So it's really the money up front that makes it tough, and that's really, you know, too, a lot of the reason why I came to commissioners for help to get this thing going, and then it's really gonna take care of a lot of stuff.
And you know, you and I have talked about getting out of the box a little bit in terms of working with the townships. And, you know, perhaps there's a way for them to help you to fill it up even, because it's, many of them only have 50% storage or no storage at all. And so there may be a way to work with them to benefit everybody.
Right.
And so,
No, we have.
You don't have a scale there,
The only
right?
scales we have are portable scales, and we purchased them, and the sheriff is the keeper of those, and they run them.
You know what I'm saying, the township buys 50 tons of salt, we're gonna have to load those trucks based on yardage or something, you know, how many buckets.
Exactly. What we've done is, because there is some discrepancy there depending on who's loading it or whatever and what truck it is. So what we did this year too is we have 2 different, you know, loaders. And what we did is we took so many scoops and put it in trucks and we sent it off. We got it weighed at, I believe we took them to Arms. and got them weighed, and we saw, okay, this weighs exactly this for this and this for that type of material. And we made a chart for our guys so that we're not losing. Because the reality is what we're sending away, we were losing money on what we're giving the townships, but we were okay with that because we're helping them out. But you can only do that so much. If I get involved with 8, 9, 10 of them and they're buying all their salt off of us, well, I can't lose 10% on every one of that because, you know, it just.
You know those doggone
choosing
townships
to
how
make-
they are, so.
Yeah. Well, they don't know what it weighs either.
Oh.
They don't.
Kid go.
There's a little money on every job, but you make it up on volume.
Yeah, make it up.
That's what Bremex does. You
Yeah.
go down there, they put a bucket in there.
Yeah, well, they still, but if you're talking salt or like mulch, because mulch is sold by the yard, you know, a cubic yard, and shit,
Right.
you know.
Well, they also do gravel. So they do the
Right.
same thing with gravel.
Right.
They assume a bucket full of gravel is
Right.
whatever tons, and so they're gonna dump that into your truck.
Right. But they're not selling it at cost.
They are not. Okay, very good.
But I seriously appreciate what the commissioner's doing here, and it really does help out.
Okay, it's a winner for all of us. It really is. It appears that way anyway. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
If I drive by there and see it empty, I might come knocking on your door.
You gonna come with money? You gonna come with some money? We fill it up.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board award the bid to Miller Builders LLC for the construction of a self-storage structure to be located at 12665 Merritt Road, Chardon, in the amount of $485,780 as the alternate bid submitted represented lowest and best bid. The bid bond submitted shall be held to serve as the performance bond for this project.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll see you next Tuesday. Andy's taking a drive. We're gonna get that contract. We should.
Yeah. Just got a pen today.
Okay, good morning. We have a chance to, excuse me, send 3 deputies for training. Ohio Attorney General sponsors a training that's called 2 Days in May. This training is earmarked towards the Victims Advocate training and some specialized investigations. The training this year will be fully paid for by the Ohio Attorney General to send the 3, including all costs, lodging, and the cost of the seminars itself. The amount is $1,374.98. So in fact, we get to send 3 for free.
3 for free.
Yeah. Victims Advocate training is specialized. It deals with everything from the psychological aspects of dealing with victims to new programs that might be of assistance, perhaps helping someone navigate the insurance maze, if that's what they're dealing with. Psychological impact of the loss, techniques on preparing someone for court. Oftentimes a victim is required to go to court, etc. We're going to send Tracy Jordan, and while certainly dealing with victims, she's our violence against women's investigator. I'm sorry, we'll send Robin Taylor, and she's our investigator. Dealing with victims, part of what she does as well, but it will also get into techniques, finding things, new technologies for violence against women. And we're going to send our Jeff Powers, who you folks have met. He is also our grant writer, etc. And they've recommended that they come. There's going to be a portion of that training earmarked again towards grants, grant reporting, financials, etc.
Pull the plug on that guy.
Yeah.
What is this, with these 3, off the top of your head, how many will have this training in your department? I mean, I'm sure there's people that have training now, victims advocate people. They won't have this training, but.
Right, this training. Certainly these 3 would be the ones who benefit from this. They can come back then and provide training through briefings, etc., to update supervisors, sergeants, deputies, those who might respond to the calls as well, some of the new techniques, and so they're going to go out and also bring it back. So using the trickle down,
Right.
lots.
Okay.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President and the Board to execute the Geauga and SVA grant award and acceptance form grant 2015 Geauga 123857741 for reimbursement of training expenses for 3 deputies to attend the Attorney General's training conference in May in the amount of $1,374.98 for the period October 1st, 2014 through September 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
What'd you feed Midge this morning? She's all over the place.
Today.
You wired up.
Like a little butterfly.
I think it's the whistling of the speaker back there.
Oh.
Oh, what's that?
Get me out of here,
Yep,
Dad.
yep.
Get me out of here now. Morning, Doug.
We're gonna have to, when we get done with the meeting,
Yeah,
we'll
just the,
and see whether
sheriff.
they're okay.
Training at 3 deputies.
No camera will do. Another pipes and froze out there. I won't trouble getting water to their horses. Good morning, Dale.
Doug,
Got
Dad,
it.
Dale,
Dale.
Dave, whoever.
Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, the first item on the list here is a straggler service contract with Vine Court Landscaping, and it's for miscellaneous landscaping work or gas line work, which we don't have that, and it's not to exceed $5,000. This is one of those standby things that we just use in case we need them. I think that's the last one.
Till next week.
No, no more.
Okay.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the Board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Vine Court Landscaping and Gas Line Service Incorporated to perform excavating and landscaping services as needed at various locations within the Department of Water Resources for the year 2015 in an amount not to exceed $5,000.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Hi.
Okay, the next two items are for Forest Ridge Landing subdivision, which is actually part of Canyon Lakes. It's 5 homes. The easement and the plat were approved by the commissioners last year, and now they're requesting they want to start building on this, and it's just for approving of the sewer and for releasing the performance bond for the project that's brought complete.
Two of those together.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the Board approve and accept the sanitary sewer line, including all appurtenances for the Forest Ridge Landing subdivision, as the sewer line has been constructed, tested, and all required documentation and payments from the developer have been received. The Department of Water Resources is requesting the Board approve the release of the performance bond for Camino Construction for the construction of the sanitary sewer line in Forest Ridge Landing subdivision, as the sewer line has been accepted for ownership, operation, and maintenance.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Hi.
Okay, then the last one's from, it's a standard form that we get, and need approved every year for USDA. This certifies the current governing board of, for Geauga County, including the auditor and the commissioners. And so this will be good for all our USDA projects, which would be Sugar Falls Park to Thompson, the Parkland, and the global one covering all of them.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President and the Board to execute the certified list of governing bodies for the USDA annual reporting requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Are you gonna be around soon? Your day good?
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I have given you this morning is a copy of the employee performance evaluation form that we currently use. And believe me, we know that it's not adequate, but it's what we've been using for years and years. And I would direct you on the back side to number 5, dependability, because that's where the change was made. We had an issue with a department that wanted to take it very literally about the number of days and use FMLA time as a way to downgrade somebody on their dependability, which is, you know, federal law prohibits that. So we needed to clarify the, how to
Yeah,
interpret.
because it wasn't in there, they were interpreting it literally.
Yes, and even though they were told not to do that, they said, yeah, but this says blah, 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 so we had to make it say what it needs to say. So Dave and I talked about it, and what we did was we inserted the sentence that employee absence due to Family Medical Leave Act or illness with a doctor's excuse shall not be considered when rating dependability. Once again, this is another stopgap on our way to a full-out consideration of our policy manual, and Dave and I have talked about maybe starting on that at the mid-year when some of the current fires maybe have died down a little bit. So we're just asking if you would approve this change. The reason we have to ask for approval is because this is a part of our policy manual.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and adopt the updated Conduct Employee Performance Evaluation Form in the Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual to be effective March 3rd, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-027 honoring Andrew John Stefanis for achieving Eagle Scout, the highest award of advancement bestowed upon a Boy Scout. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-028 honoring Jonathan Thomas Olin-Wiegand for achieving Eagle Scout, the highest award of advancement bestowed upon a Boy Scout.
Make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Window here, I can't look out to see what they're doing.
No.
I didn't come with me. Thank you.
Now, before the acknowledgements, I just want to have a chance to see a couple things. I've been contacted by a number of people regarding NOACA as far as my change of alternate, and I just see it seems to be that there's a lot of vicious rumors of one thing or another as far as my change in positioning for my alternate with NOACA. And my understanding was there was supposed to be some form of a decision or meeting on that last Friday involving, you know, some critical points of road projects that were that were taking place, which I think I might have actually been wrong on that. It's coming up, but my position is this: is that I've had a lot of people in this county that have approached me to basically say that they want Kim Laurie to represent this county. My position is this: I've got no issues as far as Kim Laurie. I think she does a great job. I think she's got the right intentions. I think she's like-minded thinking on my behalf of what I believe that, you know, she would be doing the same thing that I would be doing, probably even more, just because she's got a passion to understand, and she's very dedicated to what I believe our mission here is in Geauga County and what the favor of the voters are. It's just a situation where I also understand importance of an engineer being on the board. And it's a situation where I understand that in Commissioner Claypool's position, he pretty much, attends all the meetings. Commissioner Rear has the option of putting his alternate, and we leave an engineer not currently there being a voting member on the board. So I've had to take the higher road to understand that and not get into an argument as far as, with whether it's the other board members here or with the constituents themselves that, ultimately we work for, and to basically meet their pleasure of what they want. It's a situation that I have been battling that NOACA understanding and grasp of what exactly is the right choice. I think that, we're in a situation that what scares me is that I'm not for the alternate agenda of NOACA of trying to get involved in all the other areas that they want to reach into, and I think that they should be focused on roads. I think that we need to try to understand if we can't be out of NOACA and we have to deal with NOACA, then we need to figure out what's the best way to work with NOACA to basically accomplish the goals for Geauga County. And until we can figure out, other alternatives, it's a difficult structure to be involved in when we have certain values in this county that are not necessarily expressed and understood across the other counties that are engaged in that organization. So, it's a situation where I think that I talked to Dave, and I sent out an email as far as us trying to do something to try to get together, with the people from NOACA to try to figure out if we could get together with some other commissioners, possibly even Lake counties that's to our north, to see what we need to do to just, assure some securities for Geauga of possibly trying to get more for this county. And I think that, we're in a position that we realize that we're a minority and we get basically thrown under the bus every step of the way. And it's an unfortunate thing. I think that Skip has put up a good fight when he was my alternate. I think that Kim does a great job as far as her passion and motivation of just being involved. And the only other thing that I would request is that I think that the biggest thing is that we still have to have a responsibility to the voters of this county and also to the residents of this county, is that there's a position that they want an engineer on there. I personally, last year when we had an agreement in place where there was supposed to be a rotation as far as, the engineer was supposed to have a position on the board based on whatever
Yeah, it was gonna be a rotation when there was one commissioner off, but the engineer was always on. It would rotate amongst which commissioner wasn't on.
Right.
NOACA didn't accept that.
Okay. So it's, and we've requested, and I haven't heard back unless I haven't as far as.
That was there Friday.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt you,
Okay,
but
as far
I'll
as
tell
if they
you.
were gonna accept a fourth seat for our engineer or not, but at this point in time, that's my position. I'm not at all in support of their ulterior agendas. I think they need to be focused on roads, and I think that we as a county need to be able to take advantage of the programs that they have in place to give us the funding and receive the maximum amount of dollars that we could get to bring back here into Geauga County. So I guess Blake has more information.
I was there Friday for two of the subcommittees. First item of business was request from Geauga County to add the engineer to a fourth slot for Geauga County. Not surprisingly, I was the only one in the room for it. I made my case, and subsequently I was the only dissenter in the vote. their argument being that if we increase that, then we proportionately, we have to increase all the representation to the other 4 counties by a number that makes it even more unmanageable than the 44 people that they have presently. That was a non-starter.
That's our argument. I don't personally take that argument. I mean, I'm not debating with you. I'm sure you did.
Well,
the
when
best you could to support
you're
that.
still only one vote, you can make all the arguments you want. The other
That's true.
issue that happened there, when I went to the planning meeting earlier in February, the transportation committee that had 34 people on it, and they pared that down last year, I believe, to 11 people. I went in early February to that meeting. They had already, before they even that committee even met, they already bumped the membership back up to 25 from 11. They reduced it from 34 to 11. Didn't meet, and it went from 11 to 25. That was tabled at the planning meeting. Came back up Friday, and in a modification, they agreed to add 3 people from consuls. And I don't have that paperwork in front of me right now. So then it's supposed to come to a vote at the board meeting, and I think that comes
Next
back.
week.
Yeah, it comes back up to 14. As I was recording it when they were going on about it, and my complaint was, well, after talking to Joe about it, after the planning meeting, I said, bring me up to speed on this. When they had 34 people, oftentimes they were unable to get a quorum. When they did have a quorum, they didn't always have the technical people at the meeting that they needed to form the informed road and technical decisions. They had people from the Lord knows what committee on there. So they agreed to reduce it, but then I'm guessing more powerful arguments were made by people, whoever, that it had to get bigger again.
Well,
So I'm just letting you know that's what will be on the ballot or on the agenda next week.
I'm going to ask both of you to do me a favor. I'm not, each of us who's on a particular committee receives the packets for that committee, and I don't receive the planning, governance, executive committee packets. If you don't mind, would you forward me those emails so I can see those packets?
I have no problem with that. I didn't get a packet. Usually I get a packet delivered, and on Friday morning, I had another event at Kent State Geauga for a scholarship breakfast, and had to call Christy and have her get it offline and print it out for me. And I swung by here on the way into Cleveland. They didn't send
They
any.
didn't send the emails out?
They sent an email, but they didn't. They normally send an actual hard copy packet to Blake, and they didn't.
Yeah, if I get the emails, they have the packets. I can download the packets. That's not a big deal. But I don't get all the.
I wasn't going to do it at home. There's a lot of paper I got to spend.
So, Ralph, I'm a little confused though. Are you leaving Joe as your alternate then, or?
Well, I think and I'm gonna, have this discussion with Joe, in further detail, is if there's a situation that he cannot, attend, then I would like to have Kim fill in for him.
But he's gonna be your alternate as it's current.
Right.
So then you want to make a motion then today to make that up for the remainder, Joe is your alternate
Right.
for the remainder of 2015?
Right.
Okay.
And, and there's just a lot of commitments as far as with Joe, that even, last year, if he can't make it for whatever reason, then Kim would replace it. Kim would be my secondary, And I guess at the end of the day too, I'm just gonna go on record, is that talking to the vast majority, almost I would say I've probably received about 36 phone calls, and out of those phone calls, everybody was, I won't say everybody, I had probably about a half a dozen that was not in favor of Kim, based on the fact that she lives in Lake County, which I just, we've covered that subject Linda Bruhenny lives in Lake County, and she does a great job for this county, and Kim does a great job, and at the end of the day, it's about the person, not about where they live. But I can tell you that the sentiment of having past Commissioner Mary Samiti representing there leaves an incredibly bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and mine included in that. And voters voted twice to remove her from Geauga County Commissioner position, and I think that the voters speak, and I think that it's critical to take some of their input.
Well, it shows who NOACA is, that their bylaws allow the president of their board to choose all the county committee people without consulting the counties. We don't have any say in who our committee people are, and as a result, because I'm outspoken, because I've asked questions at the table, they've stripped me from all the committees with the exception of one committee and one subcommittee. And so that just speaks to who NOACA is and what they're about, what their character is, what their integrity is, what their morality is. Now, with that said, I've been reaching out, and I'm very much in the camp that you are, Ralph, in terms of reaching out to people and finding out they are something we have to live with until we can figure out a different formula. Given some of the other distractions around here, I haven't had an opportunity to really focus on NOACA, unfortunately. But hopefully that changes in the near future. But we do have allies at the table. I have been reaching out, talking to people from various counties, both engineers and other commissioners. There are allies, and we do have some options. I've been talking to a couple of other counties about how they handle their MPO or lack of an MPO, because in some cases they've left MPOs. So we do have some options going forward we're going to have to talk to you. But it is very clear when you look at how NOACA handles their internal dealings, and Blake, you just talked about one of the meetings you went to, and there is a lot of behind the closed doors. They say it's public, but I don't know how some of this stuff unfolds. And to be clear to the public, and this is on the record, NOACA wants to raise our gas taxes. This next Friday, or this coming Friday, there's a legislative get-together at the NOACA building downtown. Do you remember what the time is? It's 1 o'clock, right?
This says 11 a.m. I think it's 11.
It's 11 to 1.
Okay, 11 to 1. So 11 to 1 in the NOACA building, our representatives are going downtown to the NOACA building, and they're going to be lobbied by NOACA, number one, to change Ohio's constitution to allow them to dip into road tax dollars to do other things. That dilutes our road tax dollars. That takes money out of doing roads, out of doing bridges, out of doing the safety things that we need to do for our roads, to put it into things like mass transit. I personally think that's wrong, and the citizens of this county should reach out to their representatives, get a hold of them and say, look, do not allow the MPOs, NOACA included, because there's more than one MPO, to change our Ohio Constitution, to break a promise that we gave to people that we were going to spend road dollars on roads. They want to do the same thing with federal dollars. Right now, the federal government has allowed road dollars to be used for bicycle trails, soundproofing walls, mass transit, a whole litany of things, and they want to increase that, by the way, in the new bill. And so they want to raise the 18.4 cents a gallon to 15 cents a gallon. If you don't want that, for the people of Geauga County and the northeastern Ohio, if you do not want your taxes raised, and by the way, if you talk to Joe, he will tell you, if we're going to raise taxes, don't do it at the federal level, because that is the worst place to raise taxes. Let's do it at the state level, let's do it at the local level, because we can control those dollars much, much better than doing it at the federal level. And so that's my stump speech, and I apologize to you guys for doing
We have
this.
a motion on the table.
So just to be clear, and I guess the comfort situation on this is going to be just so that it doesn't cause us either not to have representation there if Joe can't make it, and then Kim needs to be there, or if Kim can't make it and Joe needs to be there. And I will go on record very comfortably saying that I don't want to go down there, not because of the fact that I have any personal issue with the people, but at the end of the day, I think any good management structure is to have people that know and understand and have a passion with certain areas to be able to handle certain things. And if I sat here and told you I know everything about everything, then I would be lying. and I've been criticized to say that I've been at 2 meetings at NOACA. I can tell you this, is good management is having people that know more than you about certain items reporting back is what success is based on. And having people that have a passion of handling an area is better than myself trying to be Mr. Know-it-all for everything and then do nothing well. So I think that my question or my concern is this, is that instead of having a 3-ring circus every week of trying to figure out, oh, Kim's going, or Joe's going, or this guy's going, or this guy's going, we need to have the engineer involved. And and I'm going to take that position and take the high ground on this. We need him here. But if he can't make it, can we do this? Because I know there is even the roster issue as far as, Kim is listed on the roster. Can we get a situation where we have, dual people? We have Kim and we have Joe, as far as they can work it out between themselves to be able to do this?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a legal question. I don't.
I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. I'm just not sure NOACA.
Yeah, we're governed again by their bylaws,
Right.
unfortunately, so.
I don't have a problem with that, other than that we may be, spinning our wheels here. If he is moving, as he said earlier, I will second that motion. The only caveat being, and we'll vote on it, is I'm not sure that the part of his motion that
Having him as the
requests that
secondary.
his alternate, he can pick his alternate's alternate. I don't know whether,
That might just take board action if Joe's not available and you decide,
We'll
Lee's
just put it
coming
on
in.
that Kim would be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm sure it can be done. I just don't know if it can be done in a permanent, like this is
Yeah, I
Right.
don't-
whatever, and it be legal. I don't know
And
that.
I was kind of thinking along the same line, in that keeping Joe at the table if somebody doesn't show up. Now, I attend most all the meetings, but if I didn't show up, then it might be better to have Joe at the table. So if Kim is available or Linda's, because we've got 3 great individuals. We're 2 in this room right now, Linda and Kim, both of whom will defend this county very, very well. And yet we want to keep our engineer at that table to the extent we can. And so maybe between us, we could figure out a game plan, although it contradicts the bylaws that NOACA is, that we're a part of, by the way. And that's how they run northeastern Ohio. They don't give counties like us any say over our own lives. They run us.
The other argument to that, being the devil's advocate, is if you have someone on the transportation subcommittee and they're dealing with a technical issue, and the argument being that the engineer should be there, and then the engineer can't be there, then there's an argument that one of his chief deputy engineers, who understands the technical aspects of whatever it is that they're doing, that's the only other, I'm just being the devil's advocate and throwing that out. I don't know.
I think I can answer that question because Ralph is not on the transportation subcommittee. I think that is Joe's.
Yeah, Joe is
Joe
there.
is the primary.
Joe is on there right now,
So
that's
Joe,
right, and
for
he would
that
then
one-
have his own, he has his own alternate.
That's
Right,
probably
so
the
what
most
we're talking
important
about-
committee relative to the meat of what happens in NOACA. When we go to the planning committee and the policy committee and all these, it's almost like a rubber stamp event. I mean, in fact,
Exactly.
one of the next events I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna take a big rubber stamp with me, I'm just gonna put it right in the front and say, okay, guys, I'm ready. But the
Only
transportation
if it
committee.
says free, and you have it on the side.
I could just get a little button, oh, that was easy. But the transportation committee is in fact the most important committee that Joe can attend, because that's really where the meat of
Yeah,
the stuff
he
goes.
is
puts his
on that
projects into
subcommittee.
the system, and so.
Okay.
So what we're talking about is the board of directors, the policy committee, and the air quality committee. Air quality and policy are the only ones that Ralph is on. Skip is on 1, Ralph's on 2, NOACA assigned the rest to you, so I hope you like lots of meetings.
Well, I'm on 2.
No, you're on everything else, right?
You're on the executive committee, the governance committee, the planning committee?
Water quality? No, water quality is yours?
No. No. The original document that came out was incorrect. And when I contacted Amy Day, is that her name?
Amy.
Secretary?
Stacy.
Amy Stacy. Amy Day works for us?
Chardon.
Yeah, that's right. When I contacted her, I said, what gives? And she told me, it's a typo. I've been typing the wrong names, or this other name for years. It's a typo. And she moved that around, and I said, well, looks like I've got more assignments, and that's a typo. Ralph has 2, Skip has 2, and I have, well, I guess a total of 3, and then the board of directors. We're all on the board of directors. I didn't ask for them, they just assigned them. And I've gone, there's been 4 NOACA meetings so far. This is what, the 3rd of March? And I've been to 3 of the 4. I don't envision that me not going to these meetings. Because there are things that have been said about NOACA by various people that as I do more and more research, it's not that they're not true, it's just that they're not complete. So there's omissions about it there, you know. I mean, I just heard one that I would dispute. But more importantly, we have an issue on the table that's got a motion and a second. You want to call the roll?
Commissioner Rea?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Okay,
All righty,
are we good?
we're good.
Well, that was fun. I thought we were gonna just wrap up this thing. So acknowledge, Geauga County Board of Development Disabilities Board minutes from the 21st and February 10th, 2015. Meetings coming up this Friday, NOACA Legislative Meet and Greet, 11 o'clock. Tax Incentive Review Council at 8 o'clock on the 10th. Community Reinvestment Council at 8:30 on the 10th. The Commissioners will hold a regular session at 9 a.m. On the 10th, Josh Prust, representative from Rob Portman's office, is going to be here at 2 o'clock on the 10th. The Planning Commission meeting is at 7 o'clock on the 10th. Boy, that's a full day. Youth Leadership Government Day is on the 12th. The NOACA Board meeting on the 13th. Family First Council on the 16th. The Commissioners hold regular session at 9 o'clock on the 17th. On the 20th, NOACA Air Quality, Transportation, Water Quality. The 24th, Investment Advisory Meeting. The 24th, Commissioners going to hold regular session at 9. The 26th, we're going to hold regular session at 6:30. The 30th, the Board of Revision at 9 o'clock. The 31st, the Commissioners are going to hold regular session at 9 o'clock. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?